Chapter 1. The aspiring detective. Thabo was always a curious kid. He loved to solve puzzles and mysteries, and he dreamed of one day becoming a private detective. But growing up in a small African village, there wasn't much crime to solve. The village was a peaceful paradise, surrounded by lush forests and teeming with wildlife. One day, Thabo was playing in the safari park when he came across a shocking sight. A rhino had been killed, its horn hacked off. Thabo was horrified. He had never seen anything like it. He knew he had to find out who was responsible. Thabo started his investigation by talking to the park rangers. They told him that they had been tracking a group of poachers for months, but they had always managed to evade capture. Thabo knew that he would have to be careful. The poachers were dangerous men, and they would stop at nothing to protect their illegal activities. Thabo also talked to the villagers. They were all shocked and saddened by the rhino's death. They told Thabo that they had seen strange men lurking around the park at night. Thabo was determined to catch the poachers, but he knew that he couldn't do it alone. He needed help. Thabo went to see the village elder, a wise old man named Musa. Musa listened to Thabo's story and nodded thoughtfully. "I see," he said. "This is a serious matter. The poachers are a threat to our wildlife and our way of life. I will help you find them." Musa called together a group of the village's strongest and bravest men. He told them about the rhino poaching and asked for their help in catching the culprits. The men agreed to help, and together they formed a posse. Chapter 2. On the trail. Thabo and the posse set out to track the poachers. They followed their footprints through the forest, careful not to be seen. The trail led them deep into the jungle, to a hidden clearing. In the center of the clearing was a camp. Thabo and the posse hid behind the trees and watched. There were 4 poachers in the camp. They were sitting around a campfire, drinking and laughing. Thabo could see the rhino's horn lying on the ground next to them. Thabo knew that he had to be careful. The poachers were armed, and they outnumbered him and his posse. He needed to come up with a plan. Thabo waited until the poachers were asleep. Then he and the posse crept into the camp. They disarmed the poachers and tied them up. Thabo also took the rhino's horn. Thabo and the posse marched the poachers back to the village. They were greeted by a cheering crowd. The villagers were overjoyed that the poachers had been caught. Thabo was a hero. He had solved his first case. He was now one step closer to becoming a private detective. Chapter 3. A new case. Thabo's reputation as a detective quickly spread throughout the village. People started coming to him with all sorts of cases, from missing pets to stolen goods. Thabo was happy to help. He loved solving puzzles and mysteries, and he was always eager to take on a new challenge. One day, Thabo was visited by a young woman named Aisha. Aisha's father, a wealthy businessman, had been kidnapped. She was desperate to find him. Thabo agreed to take on the case. He started by talking to Aisha's family and friends. He learned that Aisha's father had been receiving threats from a mysterious stranger. The stranger had demanded a large ransom, or else they would kill Aisha's father. Thabo knew that he had to find the kidnapper and rescue Aisha's father quickly. He and the posse followed the kidnapper's trail to a remote cabin in the mountains. Thabo and the posse stormed the cabin and rescued Aisha's father. The kidnapper was arrested. Aisha was overjoyed to have her father back. She thanked Thabo profusely for his help. Thabo was happy that he had been able to save the day. He was also proud of himself for solving another case. Chapter 4. The rhino poacher's return. Thabo was enjoying his new life as a private detective. He was solving cases and helping people in need. But his happiness was short-lived. One day, Thabo received a disturbing report. The rhino poaching had started again. Thabo was determined.